So today we're jumping into a story that, on the surface, is about love. But it's actually about so much more than that. It's really a look at love as this incredible journey of transformation, told through a framework that's been around for centuries. Let's get into it. And this quote right here, this is our starting point. We're going to explore that fire through what are known as the 7 Sufi stages of love, and we'll do it by following one man's journey, starting with his very first steps, from a life of carefully curated noise to the absolute shock of a real, authentic connection. All right, so meet Arav Malhotra. He lives in Dallas, but, he really lives in 2 completely different cities that just happen to have the same zip code. And this really sets up the whole story, this deep divide in his life.
On one side, you've got Arav's Dallas. We're talking Rolls Royces, VIP sections at fancy rooftop bars, nights that are just swimming in whiskey, and this kind of designer loneliness. It's a world built entirely on performance. But then, on a whim, he stumbles into Zoya's Dallas, a little place called Rangray's Bar and Grill. It's got a cracked parking lot, simple fairy lights, and they serve chai in steel glasses. The whole place just smells of tandoori and, yeah, a little spilled beer. It's real.
Arav has everything you could possibly list on a balance sheet, but he has absolutely nothing that counts when it's dark and quiet. His whole life is just a series of distractions, all designed to keep that one big question from ever fully forming. But then, one night, in a place he would never have chosen for himself, he's finally forced to listen.
And that right there, that brings us to the very first Sufi stage of love, Dilkashi. And let me tell you, this is not your typical Hollywood meet cute. It starts with a single moment that just slices right through all the noise.
See, what makes Dilkashi so powerful is that it's about being drawn to someone's substance, not just their surface. It's this pull towards a truth in them that maybe you didn't even realize was missing from your own life.
So the first time Arav walks into Rangrez, this is what he hears. There's a woman, Zoya, on this tiny, makeshift stage, singing an old ghazal. And her voice, it's not perfect, it's a little worn, but it's so honest. It feels like a confession you'd only hear at 3 in the morning. And this one line, it just gets under his skin because it exposes the complete emptiness of his own world.
So their first real conversation, it isn't flirty or clever, it's profound. For the first time in years, he orders a glass of water, not whiskey. He finds out her name is Zoya. And the captivating singer? She also waits tables and washes dishes in the back. And when he admits that her voice somehow made him hear himself, she drops this piece of wisdom on him that basically reframes his entire world. She's not just a singer, she's a mirror.
So that's the spark. But what happens next? Well, let's move to the second stage and see how this thing builds. This is where a single moment starts to become a conscious habit. This stage is called uns.
Un is that quiet, steady pull. It's when your car just kind of starts taking an exit on its own, not because you have to go there, but because some deep part of you needs to. It's that moment when a simple location transforms into a destination for your thoughts.
And Arav's journey into this stage is just a perfect illustration. First, it's just a habit, the car turning towards Rangrez. Then, Zoya gives him what she calls her chai test. If a person can admit one small, honest truth after hearing one song, they're worth another cup. He passes. But the real shift, that happens the night she's not there. Her absence feels heavier and more real than any actual plans he could make. And finally, that attachment turns into action, when he actually steps up and defends her home to the bar's owner.
But Zoya gives him this crucial warning. This stage is also dangerous. Uns can easily become an escape, right? A way to just avoid your own life by orbiting someone else's. She tells him that love isn't some kind of insurance policy. The only safe way through this is to keep telling those small truths, especially to yourself. So when you step back and look at these first 2 stages together, you start to see this really powerful pattern emerging. This whole journey isn't just about finding another person, it's about what that person ends up revealing inside of you. And this, right here, shows you just how much has changed inside him. Zoya's world gives him, as she puts it, subtitles for pain. He stops listening to those algorithm-generated playlists and starts actually listening to the questions he's been silencing for years. His world shrinks from these huge, loud, empty rooms down to the quiet honesty of kitchens and real conversations.
So in the end, Dilkashi and Uns, they were the catalysts. Zoya was the match, absolutely. But Arav was the one who had to burn. The real journey here wasn't just about falling for her, it was about finally being brave enough to turn around and meet himself.
And this whole thing leaves us with a question to reflect on for our own lives. We all live with so much noise and distraction, and we all have that stranger speaking inside our own house. The journey of love, in its truest form, might just be the process of finally unlocking the door and letting them in. So who are you when the performance ends? And are you ready for the answer?